Hello, long time no see. I'm taking a walk in the rain, and I have yet to get one of those cool stabilizer things, like the wand that keeps the camera stable, so I apologize for the up and down. Eventually, one day, I will get one of those. Anyway, I want to talk about fear. I want to talk about courage, and I want to give you an example that I had come into my head today, and I was like, oh, are you kidding? Are you kidding? So here's what it is. So most of us think there's something wrong, right, with our lives, with our strategy, with the way that we're going about something. Whether it's a job that we don't like, and oh, it's the wrong job, or my boss sucks, or like, you know, in my business, I don't have the right marketing, or I don't have the right whatever, I don't have the right look, I don't have the right product, I don't have the, you know, whatever it is. Like, whether, it doesn't matter if you're, it doesn't even matter if you're in school, and none of this applies. There's always something, right? Like, oh, if only I was clear, if only I knew this. And, sorry, there's a dog right here. Pretty cute. Hi. Little black and white dog. I don't know how to flip the phone, or I'd show it to you. His owner's trying to jog, and the dog's like, I would rather pee everywhere. Let me stop, please. Anyway, so, you know, we have this thought. So we're constantly looking outside of ourselves for the thing that is fixable. Whether that's the relationship, the clarity, the issue, you know, the problem, the program, that whatever it is, we want to fix it, and we keep looking outside of ourselves to fix it. But it's not about that. It's not about what's outside of ourselves. It's about our own courage to pour ourselves wholeheartedly into something. And so we find all of these, what I call drama tornadoes, we find all of these drama tornadoes to keep us distracted and busy so that we don't have to go all in, so that we have an excuse for why we're not fully committed, so that we have an excuse for why we're not succeeding, so we have an excuse for why things don't go very well. So we have an excuse for why it's okay to leave. We have an excuse for, you know, I could keep going. And then this, what do we call them? Example. An example came to mind, and I was like, you know what other context this comes up in? And ladies, you will know this, and perhaps men, you will too. Dating. How many of us have been in a relationship with a guy, or know somebody who's been in a relationship with a guy who's just dating? And he seems perfect, and you know he's perfect, and you know that you're perfect for him, and you really are like super passionate about each other, but he keeps pushing you away, and he keeps, you know, being flaky on you, and he's like, oh no, it's not going to happen. And you know what do you say to your girlfriends? He's scared. I scared him. If only he could just, you know, really open up with himself. If really he could just be real with himself and realize that this is the right thing, and he's going to be okay, and he doesn't have to be scared. Let's extrapolate that to the rest of our lives, right? So all these things that we think is wrong, where's your courage? Where's your courage to go all in? Where's your courage to go all in? Now, many of us, that relationship example falls apart because we get to another point where we're like, oh, thank God that didn't work. So it wasn't actually a courage issue. It wasn't actually a fear issue. It was that it wasn't the right thing. And that doesn't really go with what I'm talking about. But we've been in that position, right? Almost all of us know somebody or have been in it ourselves where we're like, we would be totally perfect if they just had the courage to give themselves to the relationship, to give themselves to our love, to give themselves to this experience. And I want to roll my eyes at it. But it's the same thing on a relationship level, because drive it like it's hot, let us go. But in our life context, this is what's happening. We are casually dating our own lives. We are casually dating our own lives, afraid to commit because of what? Because then game over? Because we might have to be exposed and truly loved and then be vulnerable to being rejected? Because if we let down the guard and somebody sees us and they don't like what they see, we'll be broken and abandoned. We might never recover. These things are all true feelings. I'm not making light of them. They are true feelings. I know I sound sarcastic, but that's just my mood today. But they are true feelings, and they are deep, and they take courage. So the invitation to ourselves isn't that we need to keep looking around, that we need to keep dating other aspects of life, right? The invitation is to have more courage to commit, more courage to put ourselves so wholeheartedly into whatever it is, being present with your kids. For me, being present on this walk, look at this amazingness, and here I am chatting away, right? Because it's uncomfortable to be fully present. It's uncomfortable to get out of the mind and be in the body and be like, oh, what's really happening? Am I sad? Am I scared? Am I worried? Do I feel loved? Do I feel good enough? It's much easier to jump on here and just go, right? And that's not where I am today, by the way. But I've been there before. And I do this walk almost every day. And I notice, 50% of the time I'd rather check out than check in. And maybe we're doing that to ourselves, but maybe we're doing 90% or 70%. And the solution is not to do more things. The solution is not to beat ourselves up because the mind races and we don't have the tools and we don't have this. No, we're lacking courage to go all in on the moment, on ourselves, on our desires, on what's really true for us, right? What's a bad boss? Bad boss could be any number of things. It could be a reflection of a job that you don't like. It could be a reflection of a relationship that's actually just somewhere else in your life, but it's picking up here because you don't know how to approach it somewhere else. It can be a reflection of poor boundaries. It can be a reflection of poor self-esteem. And when you go all in on that relationship, all in on saying, I'm going to get to the bottom of this, that courage will carry you through to a solution. Right? I want to give you an example from my own life. And I've shared this a little bit before, but I was in a meditation retreat in July. And the guy sitting next to me, who I think is part of this group, Love and Death Now, I could not stand him. He kept shifting, he kept moving, he kept getting up, he kept getting down. I'm like, we are laying down in silence. Stop it. Stop it. Stop moving, stop shifting, stop distracting. Don't you know how to be at a meditation retreat? Don't you know how to do this correctly? Right? And all those parts of me that were like, I'm better at this. I'm better at meditating. I'm better at being quiet. I know how to do this retreat thing. They came raging to the surface. And I thought, here I am. Why am I always in this situation with some trigger that makes me feel powerless, angry, annoyed, and agitated? And I went, wait, why am I always in that situation? And bing, 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 I was like, I'm the common denominator here. I am the common denominator in every experience that's been like this in my life. And I said, okay, I'm open to shifting it. And I didn't know how. But I had this little voice in the back of my head. The guy left the room at one point. I had this voice in the back of my head that said, care for him. So I folded his yoga blankets. No big deal. Nobody saw it, right? Folded his yoga blankets. Came back in the room. He messed them all up. And I was like, I folded them correctly. I am yoga blanket folding expert, which my students will die because I am. I give blanket folding lessons in class. I'm a blanket folding expert. And he messed it all up. And I was like, I did that. So there's the trigger still, right? Like, why do you have to get under my skin? Left the room again. I folded them again. For a specific reason. We had to do something with them. I didn't just fold them to be, retentive. We had to do something with them. And then there was something else. And I just gave. I gave and I gave and I gave to this person. And by the end of that retreat, I kid you not, I was like, I love you. I love you. I love you because you have helped me grow. I went all in on myself. I went all in on this relationship. I went all in on the discomfort of this moment. And I'm on the other side, and you are the best teacher I've ever had. And now I know that it was never about you. It was never about you. You're delightful. Love the guy. Right? It was never about him. It was about where I was annoyed with myself, where I was holding back on myself, where I was antsy in myself, where I wanted to get up and leave the room in myself, where I wanted to misbehave but wouldn't allow myself, where I wanted to break the rules but wouldn't let it happen, where I wanted to act appropriate and get all the kudos and never got the kudos and was pissed off that people can act however they want when I'm not getting the kudos and I'm behaving, right? All of that was caught up in that relationship, and all of it was about me. All of it. And by some grace, I was gifted the presence of mind to go all in that moment and to give. And to give and to give. And I'm not saying that's the solution to every bad relationship is to give, because honestly, most of us are like walking doormats and we need some bigger boundaries. But I was giving from a place of real love, right? Real compassion and love. And I wasn't overdoing it. Anyway, beside the point. But I went all in on that discomfort. And that's what I want want to invite you to do now is that what's lacking is not your skill, it's not your clarity per se, it's not knowledge. All of those things might be there. All of those things might be there to help you, but only once you decide to have the courage. Because once you have the courage, the clarity is going to stick. Once you have the courage, the systems are going to make sense and you're going to work them. Once you have the courage, all the extraneous tools and networks and skills and everything else that you need to make it work are going to make you excel because you know how to use them because you're in charge now. But when we're trying to find all those piecemeal solutions without the courage to stand in the strength of who you are and what you desire and what you stand for in the world, then they're just running right through you like you're a colander or a strainer, right? Or whatever phrase from whatever word you use in your part of the world. So this is the key. It's the courage. It's the courage, and I see it in myself every day. I tell myself all the time, well, I'm confused on my message. I'm confused on what I do. No, I'm not. I just haven't had the courage to stand in it. I do every now and then in bits and spurts. Why do you think I haven't talked? We haven't been together here for months, right? It's the courage. It's the courage, it's the courage, it's the courage. So I don't want to beat this into the, if you just join, you'll have to go, I'm just ending. You have to go back to the beginning. But because I don't want to beat a dead horse here. Hate that phrase, it sounds disgusting. But I hope you're really getting what I'm saying. We don't need to patch anything from the outside. We need to have the courage to stand in ourselves. And I saw this in a beautiful friend today who was like, guys, do you think, in my mastermind group, do you think we should do this or I should do this? Or do you think I need help over here? And I took one look at her and I said, I've known you for a long time. Known you for a long time. You need to decide. You need to decide what you stand for and let everything else fall away. Because when we hold the space of ourselves, which takes courage, when we hold the space of ourselves, what's right for me, what I want in the world, what's possible for me, what I can gift the world, what's magical about me, what's beautiful about me, right? When we hold the space of that, nothing else matters. Everything else just sort of works out because the foundation's solid. But when we waver there, no amount of external effort, no amount of external solutions are going to help. And I really hope you're getting what I'm saying. And I would love to hear an example of how this shows up for you. Hi. An example of how this shows up for you. You know? Because I know for me, messaging is one of them. I met with a woman doing messaging today, and she's going to help me with my message. And I said, look, to be totally honest, I don't think I need help with my message. I think I need help with my courage. To allow myself to speak my desires, to own my desires, to stand on behalf of my desires, my gifts, my skills in the world. And that's coming from me, who many of you may look at and think I got it all together, right? But it takes so much courage, and every door, every step is a new level of courage. And it's not like we have one set amount of courage for the rest of our lives and we have one set problem, and if we just had enough courage to get through that, it's done. No, we need more and more courage every day. And that's why we keep expanding. Because we keep expanding in our own ability to stand for ourselves. Right? We keep expanding in our own ability to surprise ourselves with our strength and with our courage. So, anyway, drop me an emoji. Drop me an emoji. It could be the amen. It could be like the go away. It could be I hope you burn in hell emoji. I don't care. Drop me an emoji if you're hearing this. If you're hearing this. And if something comes to mind, like an example that comes to mind for you of a place where you know that you've been looking for the external solution, but really deep in your heart, you know that the actual solution is more courage, maybe share a sentence or two. Maybe share paragraphs. But know that we know. Know that we know that we understand, know that we're in this together. And that when you have a group of people, like we have here, or like in Becoming University, like when you have a group of people on your side, courage gets so much easier. Because people see you already at the end. And so the courage, which to me, I don't like suspense, right? I watch a movie, I'm like, tell me the end before I watch it, because I don't like suspense. And so when we know the end, it's so much easier to have the courage. And when other people see you at the other side of something, when the other people see you at the end, it is so much easier to have the courage because you know you're already there. You're there in their eyes. That's what I love about the potential of groups. It's what I love about retreats. It's what I love about becoming university is we've got a group of people who see you already for everything that you are. And so you can step into it because guess what? You're already there. We just haven't owned it here. So share here. Share here. Know that we see you. Know that we hold that space. And know that when we turn to each other, and we hold hands and we say, I see you. I see you. I know what it's like. I recognize what you're going through. That it's so much easier because you're halfway there. We already know the end. The end is you win. The end is you win. Right? You're already whole. So the end is always that you win. It's just finding the courage to remember. And then do the thing that's so scary. Whether it's drawing boundaries or speaking up or just choosing what you love. Because I think the scariest things are just internal choices. That I'm enough for this, that I don't have to do anymore, that I don't have to prove myself, that I don't have to struggle. I can just decide. Right? Give me an emoji. Give me a story. I'm here for you. Mwah.